It is likely that if you're watching this video right now, you know who Faith Goldy is. And if you know who Faith Goldy is, it's even more likely that you know the predicament she is now in, the corner that she has now been backed into. For those of you who don't know, I'll bring you up to speed. About a month ago, Faith was kicked off of Patreon. 90% of Faith's revenue stream came through PayPal, so being exonerated from Patreon wasn't the end of her, let's call it, freelancing career. However, more recently, she was banned from PayPal. So very quickly, in about a month's time, she went from being allowed on all platforms to being allowed on no platforms. Well, those are pretty dire circumstances, and there seemed to be a knight in shining armor in the name of Freestarter. The idea behind Freestarter was that it was supposed to be a free speech crowdfunding website that would allow people that some might call fringe, such as, say, Faith Goldy, the opportunity to continue making money online. Well, that project ended as well. As Freestarter puts it on their website, the Silicon Valley Apartheid is real. Freestarter cannot currently collect funds. But essentially, the gist of it is that Stripe and PayPal, the two forms of payment a website like Freestarter would use to process payments, turned to Freestarter and said, we are no longer allowing you to use our services. Now imagine, as she said in her Periscope, that we decided who got water delivered to their home, or who had plumbing in their house, or who was able to get electricity based off of their political affiliations. It's preposterous to suggest that we would structure a society like that. And perhaps what we need to look at as a society is the ability, or the legislative ability, to declare some services as essential, as services that cannot discriminate based off of people's political affiliation or race or gender or what have you. And what's hilarious is that those companies would never in a million years in 2018 dare to think of discriminating against anyone based upon their sex or their religion. But suddenly somebody starts advocating for a race and not the right race, and that is now an issue with these companies. Because I'm sure that PayPal and Stripe wouldn't have any problems, say, collecting payments online from, Black Lives Matter. So this is a situation that we're currently in, and you can scoff and you can say, well, Faith had this coming to her and her opinions are abhorrent. But what concerns me is we have these massive corporations within Silicon Valley that are the arbiters of what can and cannot be said or monetized in the world. And if we continue down that path, I think history points to and proves time and time again where it leads. We create an us versus them society, and guess what? The outsiders eventually rise up, and we see what happens every time that occurs in world and human history. So it seems pertinent to discuss the matter of Faith Goldy, whether or not we agree or disagree with her. Because who's to say you're not next? And quite frankly, even if you have no interest in making, say, YouTube videos or Periscopes or operating on Twitter, do you want to live in a society where some people aren't allowed to speak? Where some people's ideas aren't allowed to be shared? Do you really want, and be careful how you answer that, because do you really want the world's biggest corporations who have bought and paid for the government 10 times over? Do you want the world's biggest corporations to have the ability to decide what is acceptable speech and what isn't? I'll leave that to you, but to you champagne socialists out there who pretend you're for workers and you're for the working class and you're for the average folk, Really ask yourself that question, because today it's Faith Goldy, but tomorrow, God forbid, what if it's somebody on the left side of the political spectrum? Then where do your allegiances lie? Are you still with the mega corporations? Or will you suddenly be with the working class? Guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. And please do subscribe and share this video. May free speech reign.